Yeah, it's so hard to sort of get into that mindset and also execute, because you could just have a moment like that. And that's a big moment that we caught on camera for Kite, and, well, I'll tell you what, very entertaining, but not the way he wanted to be featured on camera, just like Welch earlier on. And that is number 43. Is it Sutton? It does say it's Sutton, yeah, from 17th position. Not in 17th anymore, big off. That was Foxlow. Foxlow in the 144. And who was the other driver who ended up making contact? That's the top of Druid. It's just a yellow flag going into Druid. Bit of a shame, because that's a great overtaking opportunity. There's a big puff of smoke. That's going to be a problem. Who's going to end up in the gravel, or is it a blown engine? It may well be a blown engine as we have a spin. There's going to be oil on the track. That's all I can assume as John Moore goes round. That much smoke. Maybe got off the line. Now, I was speaking to Andy before. He was speaking to Matt Luff, so a third party I've heard this from. That's contact. That's going to be hard work to keep on the track, and he's failed with it, unfortunately. That was the 15 of Dyer. Gutting for him, and the 77 getting caught up with that. Absolutely no fault of his own. That's Foden. Big disappointment for him. John Cooper was starting in 8th place, and now will be the first DNF, unfortunately. Well, arguably the first DNF, Marco Ricci. They've actually made it, and on the outside of Clark Curve, a big puff of smoke and a driver who's facing the wrong direction. I can't see who it is. Wonder if, yeah, Cooper's come into the pit. Tigley got an absolutely electric start, although, to be fair, bit of a trick of the camera, I think, from the second row and third row. Looks actually like they got a better start. There's contact. There's going to be a big off, and the 98 of Watkins goes straight into the wall at Paddock Hill. That, I imagine, is going to be some kind of safety car, because I don't think he's going to be able to move that car. That they're under safety car, they sort themselves out. There's always this age-old argument, I didn't see the safety car quick enough, as there's more contact, there's a crash. And frankly, there's no excuse for that. I mean, we were under safety car conditions. There were about 4 corners there before we ended up having that incident.
Caton into second, and look at Lewis Kent steaming round the outside of everybody. He's up into 5th already, going for 4th as some elbows out. Stuff in the background, one car heading for the barriers. That might be Liam McGill back into the track, and he's saving. He's heading right back into the middle of the road. Miraculously avoided by everybody, but Liam McGill was on the outside, 3 wide, Paul. It's all going wrong for Dave Marshall. He doesn't really deserve this after what was a brilliant, almost move at Druids.
Yeah, he could have been right up there and get that throttle. Oh, Owen, where was your power, mate? Unless your engine stalled, there's no excuse. Kate was just about close enough. It's the closest he's been.
That's Lewis. With missing a wheel. Lewis Kent off, and the wheel heading back into the track. They've all missed it, thankfully, but that will be a safety car for sure.
That's going to roll back.
Oh, it is. Oh, that's...
Oh, it's come off. It's completely sheared. It's completely sheared off the hub.
I've not seen that before, Paul. Not on a Civic Cup car, anyway.
Unless he's had contact.
Possibly.
They can get intertwined.
I think he might have had contact, Paul. I'm not an expert on body language, but he didn't look very happy as he got out of the car there. I mean,
Files is down the inside. Oh, bit of contact. Is
that's
that Kite? Front split hanging off there, and it's been it! Files was that.
Oh, it was, and that's the 36 of Macaulay Austin, I'm afraid, who's got into him. Macaulay Austin, who is a mechanic for Finley Lines when he goes karting, the son of Nicola and Stuart Lines. Unfortunately, his race is done. There's another car spinning, and that is the 22 car, tangled up with, is that Wesley Swain, maybe? And we head towards Paddock Hill Bend then, and Alistair Keller makes a really good start from the outside of that front row, leads them into the right-hander, so far so good for Keller. He's got himself out of Zach Lucas, 4 abreast behind. There is inevitable contact. Horrobin into 2 other cars, and into the gravel trap they go. Horrobin has continued, but there are 2 cars out of the race. One of them might have been Sean Reynolds, but we'll await further confirmation. That's another car off now at Druids as well. Oh, and that might have been John Cooper into the barriers. There's absolute carnage up at Druids. Cars everywhere. It is John Cooper in the wall, and we're away and racing once more at Brands Hatch. It's a good start from Carl Swift from pole position, I think, this time around. So for the 2nd race in a row, he will beat Love into turn 1. There's a car sideways in the pack though, and there's going to be carnage on the run towards Paddock Hill Bend, and that unfortunately was always a danger with so many cars starting side by side on the grid. It only takes a tiny touch in the mid-pack, and it can cause a real stack-up. We've got a lot of damaged cars on the pit straight. The red flag is thrown immediately. There's a car off coming out of Druids. It's a bit sideways. Swift up the inside. 2 by 2, they run up the hill. There's another car going the wrong way further back. Thankfully stays out of the barriers, and the race should be able to continue. We'll find out who that was in a moment or two. I've got a funny feeling he was the car that was off at Paddock Hill Bend, but that was not Paddock Hill Bend that he'd found himself there. Change for a second. No, Luff is off. Matt Luff is off at Druids. He'd gone up the inside of Bradley Burns. I don't know if there was a touch between the two of them, but Matt Luff is facing the wrong direction. So Sam Watkins catching this group, and is that smoke from Dan White's car? I think it might have been. Browning gets a headbutt from his teammate Stephanie Saw. Yes, it was smoke from Dan White's car. He's off the road at Druids. So there was something going on with the right front corner of that car, and another one is off now as well. That's Goodwin. Is the fluid coming out of Dan White's machine, I wonder then? And it might start to allow Jensen Mason to close in fourth place. Oh, off has gone Webster up at Druids corner. And Maggie Webster into the barriers. The Rector-Cell barriers will have Gary Miller, I think that is, taken to the grass as he tries to find a way past the struggling James Pope through the left-hander of Surtees, and that's Horobin off. Oh, why did I say that? Simon Horobin, well, he made it a bit further this time around, but he's off the road. Morgan Kidd is sideways. That really held up Connor Blackburn, who ends up edged out wide, and it is all kicking off as they come towards the line at the end of lap number 1. Horobin rejoins, having cut through the entirety of the second sector, right in front of another car. If that wasn't an unsafe rejoin, I don't know what is. So, deep breath, everybody. That was only the first 2 laps of racing. We've got a 2.3 second lead, though, for Dan Lewis, who is trying to win on his debut in the championship, and that was a very ambitious move. Up the inside, around goes Morgan Kidd, and that was James Pope, who I think was sick of going backwards in this race, and in the end, in trying a move, it is Morgan Kidd who then ends up going backwards.
Fair play, that new engine working well for him. Hopefully, he gets to the end in a good place. That's going to be a hit with the wall. Might not be a big hit with the wall, but that could be a safety car because I think he has hit the wall.
That is the 36 car. That's Macaulay Austin again, who is slow off Graham Hill as a result. That sort of stacks up the next little group of cars around the outside. Oh, there is contact. Around goes the 77 of Alex Sprange. That was contact with Dylan Davis, and Alex with the boot briefly flying open there as he spun through 360 degrees, who is a bit wide out of Graham Hill. Ben Blackburn sees the chance, gets the run, pulls alongside, outside line into Surtees, where there is contact, and Blackburn goes around right in front of everyone. Crunch is collected by Chris Grimes. The rest of them all scatter, and that was a little bit unnecessary, if I'm honest. Out of Clark Curve comes Sam Watkins. He is going to claim a dominant victory from 8th to the win. Back across the timing line, Jensen O'Neill going leading the way, starting now to get away as a result of this battle going on behind. That is Ben Doughty in the gravel trap in the background. And is he going to dig his way out of there? I think he might do. Yes, well done.
That on the left-hand side of your screen, on the timing tower, it's struggling to pick up, and there's a massive amount of contact. Well, Connor Blackburn, he was going back, now he's going sideways, he's going grass cutting. He's been forced off. I think there was a little bit of contact there. I think they might get away slightly with the fact that the gap between Johnson and Blackburn, which is 10th to 11th, oh, War with a massive off, almost going into the potato field. Is that through the first corner? Hunting almost to try and get that position away from him. Matt Love has fallen all the way down into 5th and may well be 6th place, as that is, they can't quite see the number. Unfortunately, oh, Matt Love has been turned around. That's the worst possible outcome that could have happened there. A few of the drivers involved, but he's luckily spun off the circuit. Matt Love, former Civic Cup, but he did end up having to duck out of it. In the end, here's Rob Boston versus Bradley Burns yet again through Brundle and Nelson. I think Bradley Burns is going for it. And it's a good move, but it's a massive hit up the backside. Rob Boston gets almost turned around. He manages to keep it going in a straight line. That was a huge hit that he received, but this is the fight that Yardley Rose has really encouraged, shall we say. There goes Edgecombe through. So does Ross McCarr. Edgecombe's overcooked it, though, and absolutely messed it up, unfortunately. Gone over Brundle and Nelson, and has gone straight over as they go down in towards Agostini. Yardley Rose again, defending almost across the grass. As soon as you touch it with the brakes, you're going to end up making contact, and he outbroke himself. He's indicating off the circuit. He doesn't have the car underneath him. That was a little bit too...
Real talent at the front of the grid. There was Dave Marshall, by the way, side by side with Jack Riddell. So they're battling over left, and that's Will Redford. Will Redford off at Riches. What was that all about? I couldn't see if there was contact. He's visiting the beach down at the first corner, but that was a bizarre place and way to lose control.
Dan Lewis, of course, who's in 3rd, actually. Horobin on the outside, just about in 4th, but I fear we've got a driver turning the wrong way round the circuit, and that is James Pope. I've been in that position. It's utterly terrifying, which is exactly music to his ears, the fact that you can't hear the 1.6 litre EcoBoost engine behind of anybody else. Oh, there's contact on the straight, and it's over. We'll have a look at it. It's not a nice sight at all. Hopefully the driver's all right. As we cut away from it, we will double check that the driver's all right.
for Gary Miller, and he is up into 4th position. Caitlin May now knocked out of her rhythm a little bit. There's someone on the grass further back in a car heading off towards the scenery and backwards into the barriers. That was the number 7 of Adam Clark, I'm afraid. So Adam Clark, well, he's going to try and continue. The back of the car didn't look too badly damaged. Best of the battles is the one for 9th, isn't it? Definitely. These three very close together, and there is a move made now, and there's contact at Nelson sideways for Wardle. He gathers it together, but that was Jack Burgess going for a gap that unfortunately seemed to close. But the lower positions on the podium, it's anyone's guess. Jensen O'Neill going, is he back ahead? No, Harfield still has the inside line for Nelson, but he's too late on the brake, surely. Shuffles Jensen O'Neill going way wide over the grass. Jensen keeps his foot in it, though they're 3 wide into the bomb hole. That will never work. Contact is made around, surely goes Jensen. No, he's still there, and up the inside of everyone. Is that Alfie Garford or Josh Watt? To go around the outside of Aidan Hassan, that was, I think. Is it going to be Hillman that leads? I think just about. He bends off Daniel Petters into Rich's corner, and Petters is wide, but Hillman is wider, and he's heading for the field. Owen Hillman has lost control on perhaps cold tyres on that first lap, and Owen Hillman is going to be right at the back. It's his teammate Alex Kite who comes through to take advantage, so it's still a Pro Alloys car out in front. 2:10.7 though, was 2/10 quicker than them both, and he's right on the tail now of Edmondson as they round Wilson, and that is Smith around, coming off the first corner, stationary, thankfully off the racing line, picks it back up again, another lucky escape.
What's going on there? There's a lot of damage at the rear of that car as he just gives it a little bit of a squeeze, probably by accident.
That's a smoky Pro Alloys car, and it was one of the EP3s. Remember, Alex Kite was coming from the back with a new engine in the car. Oh my word, that is Jack Riddell, and he's collided heavily with Spencer Stevenson. That had all the hallmarks of a brake failure, and into Oggies. You don't think of that as being the fastest part of the track, but you could see the speed he was carrying, and unfortunately, poor Spencer Stevenson, around 4/10 quicker than anybody else. That is Harry England, meanwhile, going up the inside. Oh my word, and that is Owen Hillman, bang into the barriers, coming out of the first corner, and Owen now stranded in the middle of the road. You can see him trying to steer the car out of the way, but that's going nowhere. Liam McGill jumping out of line in 5th place, trying to get to the inside of Kirkpatrick, which he does, but Kirkpatrick has the inside for the left-hander. There is contact, sideways McGill, Camp tries to take advantage, and Spencer Stevenson on the grass. They're 3 wide into Knickerbrook corner, someone has to give, and in the end it's Liam McGill, but that Paul could have been much led, and didn't realise what I was saying. Edmondson, I was expecting to be the leader, but somewhere on the first lap, Fars have gone through. That's Daniel Petters, brilliant save, he had it all locked up into the hairpin. Owen Hillman goes through on the inside line, Alex Kite's off the road, and Petters might have a drama. Or maybe...
Well, Campy does as well. Here we go. In the big brake zones, Max Edmondson. No, the score!
Josh Fars sideways, he locked the rear brakes, he's on the grass, and Edmondson leads. That was a mistake from Josh Fars. The pressure, the near constant pressure. 2 of the Pro Alloys cars have been in the pit lane, so that is unfortunate. So, meanwhile, Alistair Campbell, the inside of Kirkpatrick, makes contact with him. Kirkpatrick goes around Stevenson once again in the right place at the right time and manages to gain 2 positions, but that was Camp into the back of Sam Kirkpatrick. Number 2, provisionally. Big lock-up from Files, who I think has gone straight on.
He has.
Josh Fars has gone straight on in the distance. There he is. Josh Fars goes around and pulls a quick U-turn to rejoin, but Files, same place he had the moment earlier on. Now, after quite a long hold, and we are away and racing. There's a bit of a squeeze heading down towards Old Hall Corner. Oh, John Cooper getting into the wall, and that was contact with Daniel Lewis, who I suspect has broken suspension. That could have gone a lot worse, but Daniel Lewis out of the race. John Cooper was involved in that, but has carried on. A couple of them go bouncing down the grass down the avenue, but they're all still there. There's a big mix-up in the sort of back end of the top half dozen, though. At the front of the field, it's Kellett who leads the way out wide, and I think going off the road was Zach Lucas. Did he gather that together? Zach Lucas with a big slide on cold tyres. No, he didn't. He rejoins the circuit and causes more pandemonium. That is the number 46, I think, had lost their momentum, and that kind of just caused more stacking up. And amazingly, they're all more or less still there, I think, with maybe just the one car off. There's someone off a Druid, so in a big way into the barriers. Who is that? That is number 47, and that's James Pope off the road at Druid. Now, James has gone into the barriers pretty heavily there. Let's hope he's all right. Into Old Hall Corner. That is about to happen now, though. The red lights are on. They go out now, and it is a very even start from both of the front row men. Carl Swift trying to get up the inside line, and there is contact, and Carl Swift's car is upside down. There is carnage further back. Car spinning around left, right, and centre, and that is going to be an immediate red flag. Carl Swift, the championship leader, on his lid before they even get to Old Hall Corner, and that was that bunching up that you so often get when you've got a side-by-side grid on a narrow racetrack. We see it time, and we saw it at Brands Hatch earlier on this year. Find a way back past him. He's looking to the outside of the hairpin. That leaves the door open though for Will Stacey, who seizes the opportunity. Collision further back, and that is Morgan Root into Steve Foden. He takes with him Ross McCarr and Luke Handley and another car as well, and yet more carnage down at the island hairpin. And so Sean Smith will have to get the job done under braking, where he lost, or where Bud lost a place. A lap ago, he's going to squeeze Burns. They lean on each other. Sideways goes Smith. Burns sort of, I thought, was trying to let him go, but actually does then sweep round the outside. There's further contact. Oh, he's around. Around goes Bradley Burns and crunch into the barriers. And Bradley Burns' race is done. Oh no, well, he's carrying on, but the steering's broken and he can't even get the car going again on the circuit. So unfortunately, Bradley Burns. This has been a trouble spot already today. And Jensen O'Neill going is very, very, very late on the brakes. Gets up the inside of Tommy Harfield, and there's a collision further back. Absolute carnage again at the hairpin. Callie Clifford is involved in that. Several others. That looks to me like Ben Doughty maybe, or no, sorry, Josh Watts is involved. We've got her Foot as well rejoining. Lots of damaged cars at the island hairpin, where, as I said, you've got to be careful with your braking point. There are cars with very badly damaged. Oh, only because John Cooper backs out of it, but steaming round the outside goes Alistair Kellett, and the championship leader is the race leader. There's a car sideways further back, that's Luke Waugh. Can he gather it together? No, around he goes, but mercifully he spins left, not right, and that means no one else was involved. They're on cold tyres, they're sliding around, because he is going to get the lead into Old Hall Corner. Dyer clears Matt Love, they're three abreast further back. Do they all get through this time? Of a fashion, one car ends up way wide over the grass, but that could have been a lot worse, actually. Out of Old Hall Corner they go. No, there is someone off, I think. There's someone in the tyre wall. I saw a bit of bodywork rolling. Yes, more carnage exiting the first corner. That is number 5, Sam Meager. That's his second accident of the day, and he puts himself into the lead of the race. Right, what's Bradley Burns up to? Here he comes towards us, still with that headlight dangling. Oh, and off is going Pelosi. Bang into the barriers, and Jason Pelosi again just couldn't get the car stopped. Now, there's Recticel barriers there, so the car is basically undamaged. The barrier, though, that's definitely taken. And then it was side by side between Finn Leslie and Alfie Garford, I think, for 4th position. Out of Old Hall Corner they go. Bit of dust. Oh, someone's on the grass. That is Garford, is it? Maybe. No, Garford is still there. No, sorry, excuse me, it was Garford. Harfield is there in second place. There's a sideways car at Cascade. Can they save it? Oh, well, of a fashion. Onto the grass they go. That was the 194 car of Jack Burgess. Someone else had to take avoiding action in the race earlier on today. Solid points banked for the championship. Now just wants to try and get himself a race win. Harfield's got it all wrong at the hairpin. He goes straight on. He crunches into the barrier. That barrier, how it's still standing, I don't know. How many people have headbutted that bit of barrier at the island hairpin? And Tommy Harfield, unfortunately, from second place.
51 car, which is, if I can work it out on my timing screen, on my grid, I'll be able to tell you. 51, Alex Catoulis. Oh, and around goes 991. So around goes the spinner. That is Simon Privet already going around at Tower. So he's got a bit of a nosedive in terms.
Drivers, when they went into the holding area, as we look at the number 62 of McGill, up the inside at Clearvaux, gets it sideways on exit. He somehow saves it, has to cut across at the exit of Clearvaux into Hawthorne, and that is going to give an even bigger advantage to Max Edmondson as Lewis Kent in the number 38 car. Oh, and a spin, Max Edmondson.
That was Edmondson.
That was Edmondson. He get crossed up coming out of the S's, and he's slow. Is he getting it on this driver, Josh Files, who's not hanging around? You could see the back end of that cart swirling around just a little bit. Oh, and somebody is off. Oh, that's a big accident. That is a big accident for Alex Kite. Car in the barriers. You can see
with the move and tried to fire it through on the inside, but he didn't. He's now challenging the outside. They do get a little bit of a hip and shoulder, as Owie would say, and Mason's going very, very wide there. Is he going to be able to get on the brakes and get through on the inside? He does, but goodness me, and coming through, bowling through, it's the Boston Bell car.
Well, that was 2 cars off the road. That was Archie Davis trying to go round the outside. But Griffiths fights back on the inside. It's now 2 by 2 like Noah's Ark onto the hairpin. Through all of this is now Joe Wiggin. Fletcher dives up the inside, stops up the inside of all of them. Tags back and Wiggin. Round goes Wiggin. It's tagged by Stott. And again the second time. And Ollie Hall, the club cast leader, has nowhere to go. It's straight into him. Is Simon Waterfall with a good start for the 24 car. Fifth is Parry, and that's Pete Smith going off the road. Pete Smith off the road into the barriers at Tower Bend, straight into the tyres, and I'm afraid that's his day done early. So the man who finished 4th in race number 1 just gets onto the wet stuff a little too much, may have touched the grass, locks up, but maybe it's not over. He just bounced off the tyres, it's him drop right down the order, so he's now lost out on a potential podium place. So he got a podium place in race 1, as that's all Jamie Turner running wide. Thankfully avoids the tyre barrier against the who is down in 10th. He's being beaten by 5 of his class rivals. That'd be quite intriguing points wise. Charlie Ellis, meanwhile, Chelsea, he's now has a look up the inside. That was way too deep into the corner. Takes off the wing mirror and the side skirt for Henry Howard. Through goes Harry Hayes, but he might take up the lead, in fact. So that little tete-a-tete between them through the sunny in and sunny out. 777 on the grid too as well. So good to see him back to fighting fitness. That's not so good to see though. Running wide on the exit. No, there's no rallycross circuit this weekend, Sean. Keep it on the grey stuff. There you go.
Okay, it's still out front with that fastest lap. Simon Horrobin in second.
And behind that was Gary Miller getting very robust. That's Henry Howard getting into his second tangle of the day.
Now Gary Miller hasn't finished outside of the hasn't finished outside of the top 6 all year.
You're right.
Here he is flying. Charlie Ellis has
with a huge lose.
Big spin
up towards the Exton Barker off the sunny in and sunny out, and that could be the wet conditions. Just dropped a wheel around he went. Harry Hayes goes past him as a result of that, but Charlie Ellis is one of those drivers so far in this first race where he's almost had it all happen for him today. It's only gone half distance. Oh, and that's more incidents going on. That's Sean Reynolds and Gary Miller, who have not finished with each other, sadly. And that's now led with Sean Reynolds off the road into the grass. Looking at the rain light that was coming on. Oh, and that's Zach Lucas.
Oh, well,
Zach Lucas off the road, as you rightfully said, from 3rd place. And that was exiting Jim Clark S. That's been a particularly treacherous part of the circuit throughout today. Lucas ambles his way back on. A little bit of front end damage.
Than him, momentarily getting fastest lap, and then William Chadwick in 5th position, who's having a look.
That's Noller.
As Noller goes off.
Jack Noller off into the gravel, the man second in the championship coming into the weekend, and Jack Noller skids off through the gravel. Thankfully he tracks through it. I've seen other drivers. That's quite a wholesome podium, that. Adam Sparrow's first victory of the season. Oops, off the road's gone 991, and that is into the tyres, glancing off the barrier, Simon Privet. He's been in the Mazda MX-5 Clubman Championship also. He had a spin in one of the earlier races, just trying to find his feet in the wet conditions in this car. And I think this is one of the first few wet races that we've had. And Morgan Root touches the inside, smashes the tyre stack. That brings it into the middle of the road. That might be his race no further. That's an impact enough that it's brought the hazard lights on. So they come through the hairpin for the second time, and Hayden defending. But Horrible will be using all the experience to have a look up the inside, gives him a nudge, he taps him in the rear and sideways. That might be looked at as well. That might be slightly getting an unfair advantage. Where he's got to isn't obvious. I can't see him out the commentary box window coming through the complex. And John Cooper's got a problem. He missed the gear, had a problem. They're almost 4 rest of the pit straight, and they make contact. Round goes Blackburn. Miller was involved in that too. He gets himself righted the right way once again. Miller shoots through past all 3 of them. Saw Steve Kite out of the Alex Kite out of the race. And so he's now, so that the guy's just trying to struggle along and fill the grip levels. Does I speak to that? That's Amy Watts off the road. Does she hit the tyres? Yes, she does, I'm afraid.
I wonder if she used the same word she used on the interview yesterday when that happened.
We won't repeat it, but but she's now struggling along. She's wheel spinning in the mud trying to get away, but there's no need for that. Just knocking into each other there. They always touch wheels as they come down towards Clairvaux.
Now, for Wilbur Tiley, do you think about, I was going to say, what are you thinking about here? And he's certainly not thinking about Alex Stott going off the track and into the gravel. Can he keep it going? I was going to ask, does Wilbur think about battling for that position?
Kind of down feeling that he's had with the car and not being satisfied with it. Off the road has gone Kamal Kelsey, and he's one of our leading club class runners. He was in the 2nd place in club class.
In his words, a magic happened on the first lap. But now the pressure is on. Jacob Hotchkiss closing up. Hotchkiss has got Harfield and Garfield behind him as well, and can't go too attacking because there's a move down on the inside of the 2nd place man, Jacob Hotchkiss. I know him well. He'll be furious about that.
Yeah, that was maybe slightly ambitious, Matthew Garfield, looking up the inside. He almost went up the inside of Tommy Harfield, couldn't get it stopped. And is that even damage to the car, possibly to the front end of the suspension? Either way, that's a real shame to see. You never want to see that, of course.
No, that's a shame. The move on. Here we go. We're fitting this. Leslie having a look on the inside. Jensen O'Neill going, leaving room. He's fair. He's not squeezing him at all. They're still side by side. Jensen's going to run into the next corner, but they rub. And Jensen O'Neill is off. He's going to rejoin. He's got bodywork hanging off the back. The podium disappears.
That's Thomas Merritt going spinning on the exit of the Sunny out. So it's getting a bit overexcited, I think, one or two drivers in the front of the field. Fast starting Ewan Thomas looking for third, but now he has Jack Noller, who's also shot up to fourth round the outside of his teammate Levi Aisbert, so not hanging around is Jack, the triple winner. And into the gravel goes 2-3 cars, unfortunately, one of which is Tim Dorr, the other one was Thomas Brown in car number 2, and somebody else also went in there as well. I'm trying to work out who it might have been. Meanwhile, for the checkered flag for the third time this season, as Clive Chisler goes off the road, just about misses out. But the checkered flag, it will be Luke Pullen who gets the checkered flag.
A lot of the teams saying how hard these cars are to engineer and get right at the different tracks.
Oh, and that was Boundary Dyer with a huge moment. And again, how did he catch that?
I don't know.
Into Barclay was fully sideways, with one way then the other, a huge tank snapper. Now this is Paul Luty now under attack from Sam Heading. This is impressive for him as, that's Paul Savage who's had his car very sadly, savaged on the front left, unfortunately. He looks like he's had an incident. Exiting Sunny out by the look of it, but I was about to talk about Sam Heading, who, that's Andrew Dyer going sideways again. Andrew, this is Audi TT racing, not rallycross. Stop treating it like it's a rallycross car in his first weekend in TTs from MX5 Super Cup. So Bradley Burns leads the way by 3.4 seconds, and off the road again goes Andrew Dyer. Back onto the circuit. How is that car still pointing in a straight line? That's the second time he's gone off at Clever, the third off that he's had. So Luty, Dyer, Heading, and Sean Smith, who's been all over arms and elbows practically every lap. And again, sideways for the fourth time. Can he save it? Not this time. Off the road goes Andrew Dyer, straight off into the grass, onto the rallycross circuit. Thankfully misses hitting anything.
Maybe someone was alongside, as you can see. Is that Caton? Who's that down the inside?
It's the 42 car of Will Redford. And backwards. Ooh, that is the 73 car of Daniel McDonald, the Ben Sharp racing car. And you see the problem, there's somebody else on the grass coming out of tower, and that was our pole sitter. It could have been Jamie Petters. Yes, it was Dave Marshall, maybe even Josh Files. And here we go, Camp has been passed round the outside from Will Redford. Great move.
Oh no!
Oh, Sam Kirkpatrick.
Bigot.
Oh, exactly the same spot. Now we have to look everyone else. The yellow light is flashing straight away to warn the other drivers who, of course, can't see through the spray. And I feel...
Redford's off! Big hit. That's going to be a big hit. That's going to be a big hit for Redford. Wowzers, it's too wet now. This is the thing, you're getting this aquaplane and they'll red flag this. They must red flag this.
Well, and of course, you know, as the drivers, 4 minutes go, okay, number one, Sam Kirkpatrick out of the car, hopping over the barriers. He's okay. Oh, and that's Jack Riddle as well in the podium. Oh, and there's the...
Is that Edmondson?
Is that Edmondson? Edmondson out as well, championship leader. There's another of the Pro Alloys car. Something has happened behind the... Will Redford had a huge tank slapper and got into the barriers, and there's 3 cars at least down at Sunny.
He's got the lead. Who, Scott Wibis, can stop him?
Well, Patrick Fletcher, I've seen before when he gets into the wet conditions, pretty tight. Here comes Jack Brewer out braking himself. That's not where you want to be. The comfort will possibly be that the gravel and dirt is quite hard, Pat, which means he can squeeze his way through.
Jack Burgess in behind Maggie Webster, not too far away as well. Maggie makes a move in the jellyfish car just at the right time because there was a spinner right in front. Callie Clifford has the spin, so Maggie Webster's got second position.
One more corner to go, one last chance to try and attack. As he looks to the outside, he might look for the undercut onto the pit straight. It could be a drag race, but I think he's about got it. Callie Clifford's off the road at Exton Sunny out. She's off into the barriers, but up to the checkered flag. Tommy Harfield has done it.
To Mike Parsons. 4.7 seconds the margin, but certainly he's not giving up, and he's going off again now at Beckett's. He's pushing a little bit too hard, too late on the brakes, keeps his foot in it, does some rally crossing. Up towards Copse Corner we go. Caitlin May is that. No, sorry, James Pope on the inside, and Dan Lewis ends up way wide. He's going to end up in the gravel trap if he's not careful. A huge slide for Dan Lewis. Did really well to gather that together. Fantastic car control. You have got to be at the last round. I think you can drop the last round though, can't you, as long as you're there. It's not like, oh, hello, that's a bit of drama. That was Blackburn sideways. And who was that bouncing down the grass to avoid him? Was that Hayes?
Got 3:43 on the clock. Almost as if he's listening to me, drops back into P2.
Oh, no! Oh, it had to happen, it had to happen. That's Archie Clark and Alfie Slater who
Yep.
have gone round. I think Chase Fernandez was involved in that contact, but managed to keep going on the outside line. But Richard, they couldn't keep that up. Heading towards Beckett for the penultimate time. It's Isaac Phelps who tries the outside line on Chase Fernandez. Fernandez will not want to let him through and escorts him beyond track limits and then gives him a big hip check on the exit of the corner. Phelps on the grass. Fernandez now tries to fend off. I think that was Marcus Sater.
Further up on the podium, but once you get embroiled, it can let the guys ahead go further ahead.
Oh no! Oh, and that could have broken the rear left suspension, has it? No, I think they've just about got away with it. Alfie Garford, Jacob.
That's the champion making the move. Paul Luty said to me early today.
Oh no! That is
Stacey.
Yeah, Will Stacey, isn't he? Who's been elbowed off by, I think, Ross McCarr, was that maybe?
I think he was on his way before that, to be honest.
Okay, so Stacey rejoins, maybe with damage, definitely with damage. Look at that, the car fishtailing around, broken left rear toe link, knowing that he's probably got the pace over the drivers immediately behind him. On the brakes, over the curb on the inside, bit of congestion in the middle, and that, I'm afraid, is Maggie Webster off the road, and Josh Watts involved again. And Daniela, that's his second non-finish of the weekend. He has no luck, does he? He is out of the harm's way, at least, so hopefully no need for a safety car. A couple of them running wide, another slide on cold tyres. That was one of the cars in the middle of the pack there, getting it wrong. In fact, two of them, and somewhat going on a very agricultural line through the right-hander at Luffield corner. Hopefully they will rejoin safely. There's more squeezing. Jensen Mason, a huge amount of grip underneath you, that's for sure. Right, Thomas Merritt, oh, he found some grip on the inside line and leans slightly on Archie Davis, who ends up bouncing out wide, coming through the left-hander at Brooklands. That was an aggressive move from Thomas Merritt. What did you make of that?
Come on, guys, catch up. Let's have a 6-car train for the lead. That would do, wouldn't it? Let's have some junior type racing.
Oh! There you go,
And
you were
there's our
saying.
junior. Your wish is my command.
Oh, what a
poor
shame.
Simon, that's a shame.
Yeah, and it's broken the front suspension. It's coming up alongside Matt Luff to challenge for second place. We've got the top three in the championship all together at the front of the pack already, and Luffy just about on the way into Beckett. Anyway, fending him off. There's carnage behind, though. Around goes Pelosi. Handley that was, excuse me, number 51, and someone else taking to the gravel to avoid. Handley bounces back onto the road.
This is terrific, and I love it because you can come along and say, oh, that car's here today. Oh,
that's Dave Cockle, who arrived backwards at Brooklands then. I think he had a bit of a brake failure or something because there was a pair of big black, wasn't the shell that he had at Oulton Park. It is a new car that he's got now for the second half of the season, and that is who going off? That was... It's not Swift, is it? It's a similar looking car, number 9, that had the spin. Jonathan Williams on cold tyres getting it wrong. Oh, and two more taking to the grass as well. One is Steve Foden, number 77. His car looks like it's limping to a halt. Well to save it, and here comes Alfie Garford around the outside of the pair of them, down towards Beckett's. He's late on the brakes. He's going to go through. Oh, Finn Leslie back into the back of Hotchkiss again, and they both go straight on. I wonder whether Finn's maybe got a puncture as well.
Yeah, suspension, that looks like his car's.
But isn't really going forwards anymore. Side by side for second position here. That's Nick Williamson's Rover with a good run through Church Corner. A very wayward Cortina, though, is pointing the wrong way. It's car 201.
Pat Keneally.
Yeah, Pat Keneally.
He was going very well in the first part of the race, wasn't he?
Which means the top three in the championship could well be in the top three positions after the first few corners. Swift is actually having a little bit of difficulty there, getting around the outside of Sam Heading. Behind there is a little bit of a collision, I'm afraid. That's the number 52 car. That's Paul Luty then, who's been involved in some contact. Bouncing across the grass, I think might be the 22 of Jason Pelosi. Those two tangling then going through the complex. There's a third car, one of the Rob Boston cars, Morgan Root on the grass. He, I think, also sustained damage in that collision, so that's a shame. A few too many of them sideline this time, and does once again move back into 10th spot, or does he? They're almost three abreast. The BMW on the inside. Oh, and there's contact. Around goes the Datsun towards the barriers, and that is such a shame. Off goes Jonathan Corker. There really wasn't the space there for John Hillier.
There is the magenta car, Morgan Kidd. She's had a pretty decent start, and the leader's off. Big mistake, gathers it up.
Wow, what brilliant car control from Dan Lewis, but all of a sudden it's Joseph Knight who leads the way. Lewis dropping down the order. Looks to me like Ollie Allen in his Mark 6 Fiesta is up there in 4th position, so he's had a decent start there. He is challenging the Escort, and we've got a sideways Civic behind, and that will be Ross Craig. Did he save it? Where did he go? That's not a good place to lose control. He's off into the field, but thankfully appears to be on his own, and the car relatively undamaged.
Look at the red car of Henry Foote as well. Now he's dicing for that final podium spot. He comes up the inside of Alfie Garford, turns him around. I hope the stewards had plenty of tea and biscuits during the church break, because they are going to need it after this one. There's a lot to pick at the bones out of this.
When they get out of the complex, though, because the first of the minis may be able to challenge through this more technical sequence of corners. There you can see them all jockeying for position, and there's a tap in the tail, and around goes the 77 in front of the pack. They have miraculously all missed Alan Greenhall. That, Martin, could have been an awful lot worse.
It could have been. That's like having a spinning 747 in the middle of the track, isn't it? John Davis in the red and black Mini there at the back had already made up a couple of spots.
As they now head towards the complex for the first time. Hold your breath, everyone. Do they all make it through? No, Marshall is sideways. Gets it gathered. No, he's still sideways. Up over the curb. 10 out of 10 for car control. What else would you expect from Dave Marshall? Jack, how on earth did he keep that car pointing in the right direction?
Genuinely have no idea. And over the background is Lewis Kent as Josh Files is trying to make it 3 wide with himself and starting to get sideways, but Josh Files seems to have got it done.
Yep, he's got the inside line. What's happening for the leaders? They're side by side, and Dave Marshall is sideways up the inside of Alex Kite. That is outrageous from Dave Marshall. Kite hangs on to the lead. Dave Marshall is back in the race lead, and now here comes Josh Files up the inside into Church Corner for second place. He goes past his Area Motorsport teammate, and he's sideways. Josh Files sideways at Church Corner, gathers it together, loses his momentum, and it's Edmondson who will benefit. He gets the run on the lot of them, and Kent trying to make it a 6th Area Motorsport car at the front of the field. It is going to be, though, somehow the reigning champion and current championship leader Max Edmondson, who picks up another win. Caton is sideways. Here comes Lewis Kent up the inside. Edmondson gets the win. McGill second, Camp third, Files fourth.
I think it was multicoloured enough to be him. Yeah, you're right. I think you're probably right there. 78.27, Mark Grice losing a spot to Bradley Kaler, who runs out onto the grass. Don't come back, baby, come back. Look at that, very little steering input at all, and that's absolutely critical, no matter how dangerous it feels.
So possibly some water getting into the electrics there. That'll need to be looked at for the rest of the day, but that has created an even more jumbled up order as Morgan Kidd has locked up, but he's going straight on. Morgan Kidd, no, from third position, crunch into the tyres, and that is a big hit, that for Morgan Kidd, and that was a mistake that we see quite a lot in these conditions, a big lock-up going into the chicane.
Real jumbled up bag. Sean Reynolds, the 777 car, coming from 8th place to 4th. Well, the good news is, although that has definitely knocked the wind out of her sails, that Morgan Kidd is out of the car and seems to be okay. And they've all gone by, and so Henry Foote there, 138, dropping down the order, and Jensen Mason dropping down there with him. So in fact, they lost a spot to Garfield. There's contact. Jensen Mason on the grass, Henry Foote in the barriers. Just a gentle clang on the barriers, but that will effectively take him out of the points, no question at all. And he hasn't come past us in the pit lane, but he's a long way down the order wherever he's got to. 16th place now as he rejoins, and there's real trouble.
That's Mason.
And that might be safety car. Let's see if he can get started again. It's the tyre damage that's the problem. The conveyor belting has gone. There's the integrity of the belting gone. And that's a lot of damage on the front of Jensen Mason's car. Yeah, he's made up 3 places, which on the opening lap isn't bad from 9th place. As long as you don't take the others into consideration. Ooh, stop.
That's Mark Grice.
It is Mark Grice, our pole man. Well, no chance of a win for him. You just ignore the back end. It's all about getting the front to go where you want it to.
Oh, Swift. Oh, surely can't come back from that. No, he's heading for the grass. He loops it around, and Carl Swift is now sideways in the middle of the road.
Keep your foot in.
Oh, slithers off the track. That was nearly disaster, and that is a big moment in the championship for Carl Swift. He looked quick. He looked up for the fight, but just ran out of rear grip. Second place is still up for debate, I think, between Simon Horriban and Joseph Knight, who's locked up. He's got a wheel on the grass on the inside line. Gets the car stopped, but no! Out of absolutely nowhere comes Sean Reynolds, wipes out Gary Miller. That has major championship ramifications, and race 2 winner Henry Howarth involved, and now Kellett is sideways. The championship leader tagged sideways by a wounded 777 car. Sean Reynolds, a right front puncture, couldn't get the car turned into the left-hand part of the complex, and Alistair Kellett very lucky to get away with that.
Well, I don't think it was, actually, I don't think it was Reynolds who tagged him. Somebody else coming from behind. Into the lead, though, goes Horriban. He goes around the outside, and is he going to hang on to that? He is going to hang on in the background. A monster save there.
We can take another little look at in a moment or two as well. Let's see if we can piece together what happened. We're not going to see the start, I don't think. Sean Reynolds, I think they all just sort of stopped in front of him. He ended up on the grass, and whack, he got into Joseph Knight, who actually got into Gary Miller. So that softened the blow for Gary slightly. And then look, as Sean comes back on the road, he's got a right front puncture, and I think somewhere here Yeah, he can't turn the car, gets into the side of Kellett, but that is because of that right front puncture, I think, on the Reynolds car, and that is why Kellett took a whack. I think Kellett will be fine.
Charlie Ellis, the red car, as up the inside comes Horobin. Can't quite get the traction he needs at the apex, so he stays in third, but contact, and that is Lucas Hayden getting knocked sideways by Charlie Ellis. Ellis in that red car with the yellow highlights.
Pretty sure James Pope's car doesn't have a rear windshield in. I think that's been popped out all weekend after maybe an issue yesterday, but yeah, that won't be helping the aerodynamic. Well, mind you, the back of the car doesn't matter. Oh, he's lost it into Church. He's lost it all on his own into Church corner. The rear wing flies off completely now, and what on earth happened there? James Pope's car suddenly breaking loose on him, turning into Church. We couldn't really see from that angle. Maybe it was a wheel on the grass, but that would have been a heart-stopping moment for him. Holds the lead. Morgan Kidd up to third, and Gary Miller up into fourth position. Keep an eye on Kellett. He's dropped backwards, actually, I'd say, off the line, as there Simon Horobin has a bit of a twitch, presumably on slick tyres. Oh, and what is around already? James Pope heading for the grass, just manages to keep it out of the barriers, but this is the challenge. If you're starting on slicks, you're not going to have any grip, and that is Kellett, the championship leader, around into John Cooper, and Alistair Kellett is off the road. Does he get going? Yes, he does. There is no damage, I don't think, but Alistair Kellett nearly throwing it all away on the opening lap of the race.
There is grip there, and he manages to complete the move. So Conor Blackburn, is he going to be able to fight again? One would suggest not, because he has lost that ground, but Lucas gets very tail happy coming onto the Hamilton straight, and there's contact behind.
Simon Horobin, oh no, and gets collected again, crunch into the pit wall. Simon Horobin, a big hit, and I think it's Lucas Hayden who he got tangled with. That will probably be a race stoppage, you would imagine. The car right in the middle of the road. Hopefully Simon is okay. He got out onto the curb, I think, as they came out of the final corner. He emerged absolutely unscathed. He was out of the car, walking around, taking a drink and counting the cost. This is what happened then. Look in the background, he has contact, look, with Lucas Hayden, and then as the car fishtails back across the road, they get together again and crunch straight into the pit wall, and Simon Horobin's race comes to a very abrupt end, and Dan Lewis, in fairness, did a good job there to avoid him, but as I said, he was absolutely fine. A great advert for the safety of these cars, by the looks of it, who leads the opening lap of the race, but Luff really could do with other drivers getting in there and sort of separating those top two in the championship, because 3 wins I don't think would be enough for Luff. He really needs other cars to separate those two. They head down across the start-finish line. The leaders, I can tell you, are absolutely together. They're making contact on the start-finish straight, and Matt Luff almost ending up in the pit wall there. Brad Burns, I think, is going to go through, is he? Luff tries to hang tough on the outside. He can't quite do it, and as they head down towards Village, we've had a tangle on the start-finish straight as well. These two fighting for the championship. They both had very differing seasons, though, it must be said, because really Matt Luff was one of the stars early in the season, picking up race wins and podium finishes right from the start of the season, really, whereas, oh, that's a moment for Pelosi. That is, sorry, no, Oliver Devine King, I should say, sorry, Oliver Devine King in an awful lot on the line, Richard John Neal, and you can tell how much Matt Luff wants this.
Yeah, he does. He was very pleased to get that pole position. And Brad Burns is going to, that's a rare mistake from Bradley Burns, leaves the door open, and Matt Luff was much smoother coming into that.
And, well, not really through anything of his doing. Other drivers are now in contention. One of those other drivers is Carl Swift. He's up the inside of Sam Heading. He is into the side of Sam Heading, and Sam holds on to the place, went off the track to do it, but I think we can fairly safely argue that
Snetterton, can't remember, it was only on it wasn't on a speed issue, it was I think a branded part or a sticker or something on the part that lost, but good to see him back, and he's getting some form back, is Adam Baird, back to where he was last year.
Yes, indeed. That was someone going wide. There's a lot of debris down at Stoke Corner. Adam did race here at Silverstone, but they're all still there somehow as they come out the other side of the club chicane. Down to the pit straight they go. Oh, my word, that's Jacob Hodgkiss banging doors with Maggie Webster, who forces him off the edge of the road, and that all got a bit silly down the pit straight. There's damage, I think, perhaps to Jacob Hodgkiss's car, and Jacob did not appreciate that bit for Maggie Webster, but she's got another lap and a bit to try and fight back and get back onto the podium, which, the way that these positions are shuffling, could still be a reality. Hodgkiss then second. Oh, and there's contact further back. Merritt is sideways. No, and Maggie, I think, has maybe picked up, yes, damage steering, and Maggie Webster's race is over. What a shame. Didn't really see how that started. Tom Merritt's car undresses itself right on the racing line, but Maggie Webster is out, and that car, I don't think, is going to be able to recover itself under its own steam. We've got 1 lap to go. It will at the very least be yellow flags at the club chicane. What heartbreak, though, for Maggie Webster. The drive of the season for her. She gets out of the car, and she deserved a lot more than that. She is fairly frustrated, as you would imagine. Doesn't slam the door though, in fairness. That's a good, cool head.
So 2 wide, nearly 4 wide behind.
Oh, and Files is in the middle of that 3 and 4 wide racing. Look, losing more places. Through goes Alex Kite. Oh, who is sideways and gets into Harvey Caton. They're both out of shape. Do they gather it together? Somehow they do. And Alistair Camp just manages to dodge it as well.
See Dave Marshall pretty much going sideways as we go. He's going to the second corner. They are sideways again. Dave Marshall's actually on the grass. Is he going to be able to stop it? It's very slippery out there. We've had a lot of moisture out on the track, haven't we? And there's loads of them. Even there's that one of the Petters facing the wrong way going into the second or third corner. That is absolutely astonishing. Maybe we'll get a bit of a better look at it. There is. It's Jamie Petters, isn't it? Now he's
Count with windscreen wipers on intermittently. Is it starting to drizzle maybe? I think perhaps it is. They drop down into Stoke Corner and the battle is on for 4th position. Sorry, third place. Oh, Camp round the outside of McGill. There is contact between the teammates and Alistair Camp's car digs its way out of the gravel, but that takes him out of podium contention. I was just about to say, Jack, that they were battling each other, but Cat then Endafo into nips up the inside of Rupert Deep. The 84 car is the orange machine that was going great guns on the outside. Ryan Taylor, as a few of them find out just how slippery the curbs are, and a spin for Colin Peacock further back, right in front of the pack. Oh, and another one off into the wall, and that was sort of inevitable. That's the number 20 car that I think lost it in avoidance more than anything else. And this is what happened. Look at the leaders. They all come out wide onto this exit curb. Look at the amount of spray on the curb as they run wide behind. Colin Peacock had a big spin, miraculously wasn't collected by anybody else, but unfortunately behind, one driver did lose control heavily into the wall, and that was the reason for the red flag. And remains status quo as we drop down through the Vale and into the club chicane. Colburn to the inside line. There's no grip there though, and he loses the back of the car. Amazingly, no contact, but I think Jeff Smith was delayed. Yes, he was. Then he has contact with Curly, and Jeff Smith suddenly losing a whole heap of place and into the Vale for the penultimate time. But Andrew Jordan managed to hold on because, Richard, they all fanned out behind him. They all slowed each other down, and the race leader going onto the hanger straight is still the leader. Owens is sideways off the nose of Aaron Smith, and Jeff Smith goes through into 3rd place.
Sometimes you just need to be in the right place to squeeze through a misfortune of somebody else, and that has completely changed.
Right then, race about to get underway. Chris Murphy and Feroz Billamoria on the front row of the grid, and off they will go. Billamoria with a good start in the Scirocco. In fact, the Z4 quite slow away. Steaming round the outside was Matthew Bolton in the number 29 BMW, and another one in the pit wall, and it's the 107 car, the Renault Clio, that has found the pit wall this time around, and that's going to be a race stoppage. Surely that car was quite a long way down the order, I think.
And see what happened off the start, Andy.
Yeah, is it that pesky curb again? Oh no, he's on the inside. Huge tank slapper. Oh, he nearly had it.
Unlucky.
And
Very
crunch. Now, not quite as substantial an impact as I first feared. It's for position, but the Z4 went pretty quickly in this second part of the race. Oh no, collision, and around goes the 72, which is... yes, it is. And they're 3 abreast into the club chicane for the final time. Joe Thompson backs out of it, thinking championship maybe. Mike Jordan leans on Harrington. They both run out wide. Harrington's still there, though. There's going to be more contact. Both sideways, and Thompson's involved. Joe Thompson involved. That opens the door for Kane Aston. No, Ross Billison to come through it all. And Ross Billison, the championship leader, well, what a stroke of luck that was for him. Billison picks up the win. To 3rd, yes, he did. So Hodgkiss there in 3rd position. Hodgkiss, oh, hang on. Oh, that's Maggie Webster again. And another car pointing the wrong way. Is that the 69, I think that is, isn't it? Harry Lindley. Oh, and a 3rd car, which entered stage left, had been involved in that as well.
Oh, those drivers battling it all out. Jensen O'Neill going, the champion is away. Ooh. And down the road.
Oh, can he stop it? Can he stop it?
Henry Foote. Oh, no, he can't.
Jack Sant and another, I think.
Henry, that's
Clifford
a shame.
Was that.
Yep.
We saw a few situations like that at Thruxton last time. When you get on the grass, it's cold, it's wet, it's damp, you just can't stop the car. It was Jack Sant.
I was down the road. I was ahead of, that's why.
Yeah, it is a complaint we get quite a lot from drivers, isn't it? Oh, you never feature me on the live stream. We'll stop winning by 15 seconds then. Oh, George Foxlow. And that is Billy Blockley into the gravel trap. Foxlow and Blockley tangling at the final corner. Billy somehow digs his way out of the gravel and gets going again, but both cars are wounded. Foxlow, I think, is out, and Foxlow is leaking fluid. Look, you can see the fluid pouring from underneath. Yes, and up on the curb went the number 33 of Aaron Beattie, and that opens the door for Ben Doughty, which he closes. Ben was never going to just disappear, was he? And unfortunately, a little bit of a collision there through the second part of the club complex. No real harm done, I suppose. Left-hand element of the club chicane in recent times to make it a little bit safer and therefore a bit easier to run over. Luke Handley through the gravel, bounces his way back on, does he? He's on the grass, I think, still halfway down the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight. Eventually gets back on the road, but he'll have a grill full of grass and gravel, and and dirt all over his tyres. That won't help his performance over the next lap or so. But a big moment there as he got elbowed out wide through the gravel trap and just kept his foot in it all the way down the pit straight. Lost a few positions, but it could have been worse. Oh no, and now there is drama, and that is the number 40 car, Joe Weaver, who's tangled with one of the Martini cars, and that... well, that is number 47, which is Daniel Budd, but also I'm sure I just saw Luke Handley involved in that.
They kiss and cuddle again. This is what we want to see, isn't it? And it's not forcing each other off track. It's just a little bit of muzzle flex in there. No!
Oh, 10 out of 10 for car control. That was a bit unnecessary, but brilliant car control from Sam Heading. He almost wasn't the only one in strife there. We had another car wide. Christopher Blackburn. Oh, that's Morgan Kidd. Off she goes. That's not a nice place to have a spin, is it?
We didn't harmonise on that one. We need to
my
work
word.
on the harmonies.
Oh.
And there's no harmony out on track because Lewis, who'd lost his mirror, is off the circuit with Caitlin May, sadly.
Yeah, that's a biggie. That's a biggie, isn't it? That might be race stoppage, I'm afraid. There he is, rejoining just behind them, and they all somehow come out the other side in one piece. But yeah, Joseph Knight, third place, Richard, gunning for that maiden victory, and I think he's got a real chance.
He's capable of it.
Oh, no. That is a biggie.
That'll be reds.
One of the race car consultants' cars, that. Couldn't see who, but yeah, that'll definitely be a red flag. Sorry, Lucas second, third Jason Knight, fourth Kellett with the fastest lap, then Graham Cole for fifth, and that is good news. That is Lucas Hayden. There's not a lot left of his car, but he's out of the car and appears to be absolutely fine.
As you say, the primary thing, driver okay.
Compared to the independent suspension with the EP3, so yeah, I would say that. That's a big hit in the door. Kite will not be happy with McGill doing that. Keep the throttle open, and that all come from just a little bit of late braking, and that is going to be it. That
wasn't so much an overtake from Emerson as accident avoidance, I think, really, from Liam McGill, but it worked. Oh, Caton sideways was heading for the pit wall for a moment there. Good car control. Finn Leslie is the interesting one because he started at the front in race one, but in those conditions just didn't seem happy. Slipped well down the order. 16th, I think he finished in that first race yesterday. Yes, he did. Oh, Maggie Webster. Oh, and over she goes. And that was a bit of contact with Ben Doughty, and Maggie Webster just can't buy any look. That was such an overreaction almost, wasn't it? For a tiny bit of contact, she didn't deserve that.
Massively.
For now. So 20 minutes is a long time, Richard. And Zach Lucas is up for the fight, isn't he? Look, he's already sort of into the side of John Cooper, and that has not helped his progress, actually.
Yeah, that lost him. And this will set him up. If he maintains that, this will set him up for next year, because presumably he'll want to come back and have it.
Oh, no.
Spoke too soon.
Tangles with Colfer, both of them off. Colfer's got broken steering. I hope he realises Howarth might have got away with that. Oh, that is a shame, isn't it?
That's a big pity. Yeah, that's what you want to do, isn't it? Make a little bit of progress. Can't win the race in the first lap, but you can certainly add a little bit of progress to it. So P5.
Oh, no! That's Luke Handley.
It's Luke Handley.
Someone ran wide on the outside, tried to get back on the track, and Luke Handley was in the way. Oh, straight back into traffic. And I think that was Ross McCall that got walloped. And Luke Handley's race comes to an end. McCall's likely over as well. Yes, he will, although I fear he may end up becoming a part of that squabble again by the time they get down to the Stowe corner. Whoops, that's Bradley Jordan with a big moment up at the top of the screen and hand out of the window. I don't think he's waving to his fans. I think he's maybe signalling his frustration there.
Is that Andrew's younger brother?
I think it is, isn't it? I'm sure it is.
Don't know. We've got 8 minutes 39 remaining of their last race of the... I don't know if they've got a winter championship this year or not.
And they often do, don't they?
Or winter weekend or something like that. We've got Janetta back this year.
Oh, my word. That was clumsy. Oh, and Matt Ayres gets clobbered as well in all of that.
What a shame.
Well, actually, he's carrying on. The car looks remarkably undamaged. It was the 26 that got it all wrong, really, Nigel Davis.